So I say we kick it off. We have 2 hours together, but we have a big agenda, lots to go through. So first of all, welcome everybody on behalf of JUSTNature, the JUSTNature project. Thank you for being with us. My name's Daniel Matkovits from Prospex Institute. So I get the slide with just one word on it. So perhaps we can start with a small reflection. There's nothing new about cities. Cities have been around, according to historians, for about 5,000 years. Not every city, obviously, but the first cities. They've always been a magnet for drawing people in, and they still are, because cities offer the promise of the very best of human experience. So better economic opportunity, collective safety, more creativity, more innovation, better tools, etc. So by bringing people together, cities have always had the possibility for humankind to be more than the sum of the parts. And so it is with the meeting today. So by bringing different European cities together to exchange, we have the possibility to achieve more than when we act alone. So that's the thinking, and welcome and thank you for your willingness to share and exchange with different cities from around Europe. Some brief comments just to get us started. We're going to be recording the discussions today, as you can see. That's because JUSTNature is a European Commission-funded Horizon Research and Innovation project, and so has a reporting requirement. And actually, if you can go to the agenda slide. So we have built in a break. We'll have 3 city presentations. So thank you to Budapest, Dundalk, and Pécs. I'm very excited to hear your presentations and learn from you. I will ask that each of the city presenters, though, do their best to stick to the time that's been allotted, so 15 minutes for each of the presentation, just to make sure that each of you get the same time to speak and that we have plenty of time for Q&A, which will come towards the end. I'd briefly like to introduce my 2 JUSTNature colleagues, Tanya Pico from the Institute for Urban Excellence and Magdalena Jancic from Prospex Institute, who are the co-organizers of today's discussions. Maybe Tanya and Magdalena, you could wave briefly just so we can see you.
Hi,
Great.
everyone. Thank you, Daniel.
Okay, well, let's get started. Yeah, I'm just looking for Eleni on the call. I'm assuming she's on the call. I can't see. But our first speaker is Eleni Goni, who's from E2Arc. Eleni will say a few words about the JUSTNature project, so our goals and our achievements. Eleni leads the implementation oversight of nature-based solutions on the project. So, Eleni, over to you. Thank you very much. And Eleni, we've given you 10 minutes. I'm going to be having to be really strict with the time on every speaker, so don't take it personally, please.
Thank you, Daniel. Can you hear me well? Yes.
Yes.
And I take it, Tanya, that you will be changing the slides?
Yes, I will be changing the slide.
Perfect. Okay.
Let me introduce you.
Everyone.
Maybe let me introduce you, Eleni. So Eleni is an architect with a Master of Science in the environmental design of buildings. She has a long experience in the design, management, and execution of projects related to buildings, sustainability, energy, retrofitting, innovative materials, and nature-based solutions. The organization she represents is E2Arc, is leading the work package dedicated to the design and implementation of low-carbon, high-air quality NBS in Cyprus. Over to you, Eleni.
Thank you. You can move on to the next slides. Okay, so JUSTNature, our project, it started 4 years ago. It will finish in upcoming February 2026. This is a project that supports, empowers local communities in 7 European cities, which form 6 city practice labs to co-create and co-implement nature-based solutions that suit their needs. Our cycles are based in Greece, Malta, Italy, Germany, Hungary, and Belgium. The overall objective of the project is to activate nature-based solutions by ensuring a just transition to low-carbon cities based on the principle of the right to ecological space. This activation is done while considering social challenges, with the main focus being climate change, biodiversity, with the added dimension of human well-being. So our project activates the just implementation of low-carbon, higher quality nature-based solutions by driving the co-design, co-creation, and co-decision supporting interventions with regard to 4 innovation dimensions in these city labs. So we have effective governance, we have with regard to long-term NDS system maintenance and operation, and this is combined with enabling social and innovative business models and market design. And of course, this is all informed by efficient technologies and applications. You can press the next one, please, Tanya. So we follow an hierarchical approach to the definition of nature-based solutions and their classification, and this allows us to include the most important parameters as well as principles for the project altogether. So we have a 4-tier system of interrelated levels that will hopefully support practitioners and researchers in strategically planning and defining and implementing suitable NBS. So level 1, you see the challenges. Level 2, we have an action hierarchy. On level 3, we have the principles, and finishing with level 4 with the different NBS categories and measures. You can move to the next slide, please. So we have 21 partners in the project, and these include municipalities, research centers, universities, and SMEs. Next slide, please. I'm not going to, of course, not going to go into detail. We have achieved many things so far. There are many important results. I will be focusing in the next few slides on the implemented nature-based solutions and the lessons learned from this process. Next slide, please. So this table is to give you an overview of the categories of NBS that are being implemented in our city practice labs. You can see indicated the solutions that have already been implemented and those that are still ongoing. Next slide, please. Coming to the actual solutions, just to give you this overview, we have 15 solutions that have been co-designed across our cities. And next slide, please. Yes, and the implementation of 10 NBS has already been completed or is at a well-advanced stage. We have 2 nature-based solutions that have been co-designed within our cycles, but are actually relying on external funds. So their implementation is pending, and 3 more solutions that are currently underway. Next slide, please. Oh, yes, so apart from the direct benefits that we obviously have from implementing these solutions, we have also a significant added value that comes from the lessons learned from this process. So with the aim to support reflection and learning, we try to evaluate both the implementation process, but also the operation and maintenance process of the different NDS. And this not just benefits our pilots, but also the research teams involved, and of course, potential replicators. And this is why we are here today. So in this respect, we've run so far 2 rounds of questionnaires to our cycle representatives. The first round was towards the end of the implementation process, when we collected feedback from the cycles in order to see how were the solutions designed, built, and launched. You can move to the next slide, please. So we started by investigating at which level and at which stage the initial ideas of the cycles were adapted to external factors. Here we saw that in most of the pilots, changes occurred after the initial sketching of the solutions. Next slide. Yeah, just give it on. There, yes. So here you see the type of changes, the reasons for any changes, and the effect of such changes in the overall implementation process. Mostly it was about the design. With respect to the reasons, stakeholder input played a role, together with financial issues and technical issues and also legal issues. With respect to the effect of these changes, it was mostly the time frame, so delays that came from this process. You can move to the next slide, please. In almost all of our solutions, difficulties were reported with procurement. Most difficulties were related to the level of expertise and the preparation of the specifications. The biggest effect of the phase difficulties were, again, experienced delays. But to give you also an idea of the level of complexity that our cyclists have to face, you see here, and you can press the next one, please, Tanya. So you see here the different experts that had to be involved for the design and implementation of the NBS. Moving on to the next slide, please. So there were delays in the implementation of most of our solutions. As you see here, a variety of reasons were reported, weather being the main hurdle. The effects of the reported delays, however, were rather minor. Moving on to the next one. There were minor budget deviations reported. So most of the financial planning was accurate, and things went as foreseen. When deviations were reported, the main reasons behind them were external factors. I mean, we started in a difficult time like war in Ukraine, COVID, inflation, all this affected, obviously, the implementation of the solutions. Moving on to the next slide. Just to tell you that a few months into the operation, we went back to the cyclists, and this time we were looking for their insights on the sustainability and the maintenance of the implemented solutions. So we wanted to see, now that the solutions are up and running, how do we keep them running? What's the experience so far? And you can move to the next slide, please. It's interesting to see that in almost half of the cases, modifications of the NDS solutions took place even after the handover of the solutions. And these were especially during the early months of operation. Next slide. Here you see the different kinds of modifications and their scope. As for the reasons for modifications, again, stakeholder input and safety concerns came first, followed by technical and legal issues. And the scope of modifications was mostly about the equipment that was used or some adjustments in the design. Moving on to the next one, looking at the maintenance process, it was good to see that in most of the cases there is a maintenance plan in place, and the primarily responsible for this are the appointed contractors, with local communities playing a role, and the cities also, of course, having a role. Moving on, just an overview. Next slide, please. Yes. So these are just very, very generally the main regular activities, maintenance activities carried out. Nothing unexpected, nothing unforeseen. Next slide. But we also had some unexpected maintenance needs, and the main causes were mostly vandalism and accidental damage, with equipment failure and fault installation also playing a role, and some extreme weather damage. And next slide, infrastructural component. Yeah, we also try to see the annual cost of maintaining these components, these solutions. It's a bit too early to have a very clear view, but what we do see is that infrastructural components as well as digital components appear to have rather low maintenance cost. When it comes to the environmental components of nature-based solutions, things vary more. And moving on to the next one, just 2 more slides left. Thank you, Daniel. Looking at the role of local communities in the maintenance of these solutions, in almost 60% of the cases, local communities are involved in maintaining and operating the MBS, with their role being either hands-on maintenance or reporting, monitoring and reporting any issues. Moving on, next one, please. It's also interesting to see that some training was provided to the people that were involved in maintenance. Not much. It was mostly community-led workshops and some technical training, but it was nice to see that also some new partnerships and collaborations emerged to support the operation and maintenance of the MBS. And here I will stop. I've already exceeded my time, and I think we have enough to discuss about, and I'm really interested to see what our other partners have to share with us in this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Eleni. Moving on to our next point. Now, Magdalena Hansik is going to tell us about the Twinning City program and why we are here. So Magdalena is a consultant in Prospex Institute, currently based in Germany, working on community engagement in urban development projects. She has an academic background in cultural anthropology and urban studies, and is founder of 2 nonprofits of art and community development in Zagreb and Leipzig. Over to you, Magdalena, please.
Thank you a lot, Tanya, and thank you, Eleni, for introducing our MBSs. I will be very brief. I would just like to give you a bit of a broader context on how this exchange falls into the project. So alongside the nature-based solution implementation, another big aspect of the JUSTNature project is engagement and co-creation of the project solution. So this engagement happens on 3 different levels. First one is the internal one, where the city partners within the project share and support each other. Then we have the local one, as Eleni already mentioned, where the local communities actually involved in the creation and implementation of the nature-based solutions to make sure that the nature-based solutions are aligned with communities' needs and values. And finally, we have the external engagements, which is the Twinning City program. And this is where each of the city partners from the project has a partners with a city with geographical and cultural similarities to share and support each other's development. The main objective of the Twinning City program is the knowledge and experience exchange between the twinning cities on the topics that are relevant to the project, such as gender, such as implementation, such as digital solutions, etc. So on one hand, we do this to gain the learnings from the external cities to support the development of the JUSTNature project and to upscale the nature-based solutions. And at the same time, on the other hand, we do it to share the learnings and experiences that we have acquired through the project. And as Eleni presented, there have been many. So far, each city held 3 exchanges with their partner cities. And then we were thinking, how can we upscale this exchange as well? And this is why we organized this multilateral exchange, where we all come together so that the knowledge doesn't only travel from one city to another, but where we all have an opportunity to hear and to exchange and potentially get in contact. So I would also hereby like to invite you, if you hear something that interests you or could benefit your city, please do get in touch with either Tanya or myself. And then we will put you in touch with a city from JUSTNature so that you can maybe continue collaboration in the future. And now all this leads to one big objective of the Twinning City program, and that is the replication potential. So we are hoping that, we are very grateful for the knowledge that you're bringing into the project. Some of the knowledge has been implemented within the project, within the cities. And we hope that JUSTNature will also inspire you to think about how can you replicate some of our solutions into your cities. So with this, I would like to round the introduction of JUSTNature, and I leave the word to Tanya and to our presenters.
Thank you, Magdalena. Okay, so the next point in our agenda is to hear the invited cities. These are our speakers, as Alex, Ursula, and Diana, and I will present to them in each presentation of the cities. First, we start with Budapest district number 18 in Hungary. Balex is an environmental engineer. So I hope I am telling the right way to say it. Balask.
Yeah.
Thank you. He's an urbanist working in the EU research and innovation projects in the field of sustainable urban development, engaged to make a real change in his work and beyond as a volunteer. He is also a head of an NGO. Please, I leave the floor to you, Balas.
Thank you very much, Tanya, and welcome to everyone. And thank you for the opportunity to present some part of the case that we are doing in the Upsurge Horizon project. That is a sister project of JUSTNature. And in the upcoming minutes, I'm going to talk about the work we have done together with the municipality of District 18, and I'm representing Burst nonprofit company that's another local partner in this consortium that has more than 20 partners. It's a big partnership. About us briefly, here we are located in the southeastern part of Budapest, District 18, at the gate of Budapest, how we call it, as the international airport is located in the northern part. And when you arrive to Budapest, you arrive to the District 18, but many large infrastructure elements also make the district diverse. It has various urban settings from larger buildings to a lot of family houses with gardens. And we are part of the big Hungarian capital and the even larger metropolitan area with roughly 2.5 million people. Let's move on, please, to the next slide. And in the Upsurge project, I try to formulate it briefly. In the project, our main goal is to reroute the cities through nature-based solution and make them move towards regenerative transitions with the help of nature-based solutions. And in our case, we did experimenting specific for the District 18 to improve the urban climate, to a certain extent the air quality too, but you will see that we had other specific problems. We wanted to find solution with the help of the NBS. All the conclusions and lessons learned from the case of Budapest and the other cases from Belfast to Breda, or I could mention also Maribor or Katowice, the other demonstration cities. They will feed into a so-called lighthouse in which we would like to provide valuable information to cities who would like to step on this way of greening their cities with nature-based solutions. Please, let's move on to the next slide. And following the structure of the presentations given, I try to formulate for our case what are and were the enablers and barriers for our case. And basically, the municipality saw a good opportunity, not only in the project funding itself, in the research and innovation projects, but also in the inspiration and the know-how what such an international project could provide. And for that, there was a clear political support to join these projects and get engaged with the nature-based solutions. And luckily, we had a really good expert in-house within the municipality who was still working on the nature-based solutions, especially in the rain gardens. And the project itself, the Upsurge project, has a good inner team within the municipality and formulating this Budapest team with the Burst. And also a lot of Upsurge project partners are supporting us in this way. What were what are the barriers? And I could reflect also to Eleni's presentation that I felt that you were mostly describing our case, and really thank you for this representative presentation. But also and I'm turning now to the barriers that there's a need also from the politicians to try to change a little bit the political and the working culture in a way that people would appreciate the nature-based solutions. It's a little bit coming from people's perception, how they are using the public space. Let you give an example that some streets in the suburban area with family houses and gardens had a ditch that collected rainwater for many decades. And now, as the motorization rate is growing, people tend to park their cars outside, and they feel that public space is strictly for their use, to store their private belongings, let them call now cars, and they are changing soon these public spaces, and the politicians are also trying to find some solutions to change this, because those are the areas that we could use for the nature-based solutions that have these multiple benefits. I wouldn't go into these details. And then we saw that even though we have some good internal capacities in-house, we still lack the experience on how to build the rain gardens, and later on how to maintain them and how to scale up. We wanted to do it internally with the city management company, and they are the ones who had to master how to build a proper rain garden, and now we are also in the maintenance phase. And I have to admit that the climate change is also let's say giving us some constraints in this process, but I will talk a little bit more about it in the next slides. Please, let's move on. Yes, about the background a little bit. After the political shift in 2019, the new political leadership was involved in a climate strategy elaboration funded by the ERDF, European Union, in which they prepared the strategy for the district, identified the problems, the hotspots, and it has been revealed that the most annoying and problematic thing for the local people are the flash floods, as you see on the left picture. And that gave the inspiration to get involved in different projects of this kind, and reflecting on these problems. And one of them is a live project that is taking place in different areas of Budapest, in a hillier part, in a downtown, and in a suburban district, and we are the suburban one. And for the same problem and issue, we are approaching it from a different angle in the Upsurge project. the aim is to enhance the water retention, improve the water climate. As I mentioned, we would like to reach a long-term shift, and that's why we are raising the awareness of the citizens, and we would like to build our internal capacities, these valuable capacities, to properly build these rain gardens and other NBS. But what kind of NBS are these? Let's move on to the next slide, please. Namely, we are building a green wall on the municipal headquarter building, you can see on the left. Then we planned 50 public and private rain gardens. You see in the middle our flagship, the largest one, which is approximately 30 square meters large in a public museum garden. And we also experimented with the green parking lot or the gravel lawn, which is actually not an official parking lot, but we managed with some tricks to create a nice NBS that could be used for this purpose. Let's move on, please. And now I'm getting to the in more details to the rain gardens. Namely, in this project, 25 were planned on public spaces, like the ones I mentioned, where people tend to park their cars or right neighboring them. They like also sealing these kind of public areas that actually not belonging to them. And with the help of the earlier climate strategy, we had identified hotspots, but we also wanted to involve at the beginning of this project the local citizens to help us to identify more of those hotspots, especially torrential rain times are good for such request. And we managed to narrow down the list to roughly 25 places. We subcontracted a company that helped us to make 3 typologies of public rain gardens, and then we invited citizens, the public, whoever wanted to involve, and directly some institutional leaders locally, led them the schools or kindergartens or the public other institutions. And with the help of this co-design event, we managed to plan how these rain gardens would look like. We couldn't involve them deeply into many aspects of rain garden planning, but let's say the choice of the plants was of their interest, and we saw that it makes sense this way to get them engaged. And when we got down to the implementation phase, we put some information board in front of the gardens of those places where we planned these rain gardens. Also put some flyers into the post box of those people, not only to inform them, but also we wanted to start dialogue with them, but we saw that they weren't that much receptive. But still we could reach that if there was, and there were in some occasions, a rejection or opposition against these rain garden deployments, we could reveal it in time, and we didn't get into the conflict and find some other places to put these 25 or few rain gardens. And in the implementation phase, we did with the city management company. On the one hand, they had to learn at all levels, from the leadership to the hands-on workers, how to prepare a rain garden. what kind of materials to use. There has been some experimenting at the beginning, just like with the wood chips that you may see on the left bottom image that they are preparing. And finally, now we see, after almost 2 or 1.5 years of experience, that now they are getting there when they are building a new one. So it could be also maybe this company could go on the market by building these rain gardens. However, now with the limited capacities, they are strictly focusing on the municipal public areas. So there has been a lot of lessons learned, and I mentioned some experimenting or what should be the proper time to deploy these rain gardens. Last year we experienced a severe drought in the summertime, and for example, the rain garden installations, roughly half of them was in May, I believe, in the second half of May. That turned out to be too late also for the planting. And even with irrigating these rain gardens, almost all the plants dried out in these 3 and 4 long dry months. Let's move on, please, to the next slide. And I would focus now on the private rain gardens, because we wanted deliberately to get people involved in this process, not only to see on the streets that the municipality is doing something, but to experience themselves in their own garden. And the municipality has a long-ranging history in tendering different kind of environmental goods to the people for free. They have a regular call every year. For example, they are distributing the water harvesting balloons in which people can collect the rainwater and then irrigate whenever they want. And based on this type of experience, we wanted to do the same with the rain gardens, but also wanted people to undertake something in return. We wanted namely to harvest their experience with the rain gardens. And we publicized this call for roughly 25 rain gardens, but we had some problems with the initial application, as people might have been afraid, what is a rain garden? We started an intensive media campaign in all reachable channels, and finally, after 8 or 9 months, we could distribute all rain gardens. However, we made some trick, to be honest, as we identified in between some institutions that could help as a multiplier in this field, like schools, museums, local museums. Therefore, not all the rain gardens went to private users, to their garden, but to the schools and museums also. A few pieces has been distributed. And what we requested from people to participate rain garden workshops, in which we also distributed and prepared a nice booklet how to maintain the rain garden, what to do with them during the year. And at the last workshop, we will be harvesting their experience on these. However, we are keeping in a regular touch with them. We request photo documentation every month, and from time to time we turn to them with some questions or questionnaires to get interim experience from there too. We gave this rain gardens from these EU funds for free to them, but they had to undertake that they are not doing any substantial change in the rain garden for 5 years, or if they are planning, just they should let us know.
Balas, I'm sorry, but I have the horrible task to tell you to
Okay.
wrap it up, please.
Okay, let me wrap it up very soon. Our project is also dealing with the air quality. So we gave air quality citizen science monitoring tools to them. And here are some just images how the private rain gardens are look like. And yes, please move on to the last or the one before the last slide. We are taking, we are organizing place lab or place lab activities in which specific target groups are also involved in the rain garden process, like the one on the right bottom with pensioners and elderly people. And we try to engage them now to get involved in the maintenance of the public rain gardens. But we try to reach out throughout local festivals and different workshops to the general public. And my last slide will be the next one. We are trying to communicate, and we could communicate even better, to be honest, about people, about the results and the ongoing activities about the rain garden, because we see that people are a little bit afraid, or they unfamiliar with the, not only in general the nature-based solutions, that is a totally new term for them. Mostly they think about just green, urban green, but these specific topics, that's why we try to have regular presentations and discussions with people, have a rich website and social media with an e-newsletter that we are trying in different channels to reach out to them, and especially in this online, how to call media chaos, it's really hard to get our messages to them. But when we see that in the Place Lab, when we have specific events and we can identify very well the target groups, this way we can make small steps to reach some key groups. So that's what I could also suggest for the others if you deal with the nature-based solutions. And thank you very much for your patience and listening to me.
Thank you so much, Balax. I will be asking you to please hold your questions for the final part that we have. So in the next agenda point, we have Ursula Condon. She's executive planner in the Louth Council, County Council. Ursula is an executive planning officer with the sustainable energy section of the Louth County Council since September 2020. She has led the Horizon 2020 Varsities project on behalf of the Council, overseeing its implementation and progress from inception through its conclusion in August 2025. With a strong commitment to sustainable urban development and climate resilience, Ursula plays a role in advancing innovative, health-driven public spaces solutions at the local level. I'll give the floor to you, Ursula. Welcome.
Thank you, Tanya. Good morning, everyone. I'm here to speak on behalf of the Varsities Project and Louth County Council. So we are one of 7 pilot cities in the Varsities Project. County Louth is a border county, therefore that means that we are just on the border between the north of Ireland, which is part of the UK, and the Republic of Ireland. We are within the Republic of Ireland. It's strategically placed between the Belfast and Dublin corridor and is well serviced with motorways, train, and in between the two international airports in the island of Ireland. Louth County Council delivers services at the local level that ranges from planning to housing to roads to environmental issues. We have a staff of 750 people serving a population of 129,000, and we are considered within Ireland as a medium-sized local authority. Next, please. So what is varsities? Well, just listening to some of the presentations that have occurred so far, there seems to be a lot of similarities between the Varsities project and the JUSTNature project. But the aim and scope of the Varsities project is to implement visionary ideas in cities and adding value through increasing the health and well-being of citizens exposed to diverse climatic conditions and challenges, and to advance innovative ideas across different urban scales by exploiting the nature-based solutions from a digital, social, and cultural perspective. As I've just said, that is being done through visionary solutions. This was, I suppose, for Louth County Council, a new term. It's something that we hadn't really worked on before, and so to explain what a visionary solution is, it is an innovative approach that integrates nature-based solutions with digital, social, cultural elements to enhance the health and well-being of citizens in urban areas. These solutions are designed to be sustainable and adaptable and to address diverse climatic conditions and urban challenges across Europe. Next, please. So at the very start of our project, it commenced in September 2020. This was just, I suppose, in the height of the COVID lockdown. We started our stakeholder engagement. For Louth County Council, that was quite challenging because we had never, I suppose, conducted business in an online way before. We had to set up, it was a new way of doing business for us. So reaching out to stakeholders and trying to get, I suppose, a broad range of stakeholders to use the medium of Teams and Zoom was quite challenging. But notwithstanding that, we overcame the challenge, and we asked them to describe what they thought of our pilot site. The picture there that you will see at the bottom is to show you what the pilot site looked like beforehand. Essentially, it was just a staff car parking. So the feedback we got from our stakeholders was that it was a very uninviting and unwelcoming space, that given that it was dedicated for staff car parking, it was very disconnected to the town. There was a very non-inclusive design. It lacked permeability. It was in between our library and our museum, but they felt that there was no natural connection between the two buildings, and therefore it was completely underutilized. Next, please. And so with the feedback that we got from, I suppose, the sense of feelings that our stakeholders had given us, we developed our 3 visionary solutions. Our first visionary solution was to create an outdoor learning pod between the library and the museum. It was designed using cutting-edge technologies to facilitate shared community events. Throughout the co-creation process and the design, some things that were coming back to us was very clear that in Ireland, given that we have a temperate climate with high volumes of rainfall, we had to have an outdoor learning pod, which is essentially a classroom that could have a roof, so that it could be used, all year round. So with that in mind, we started to our design on that. Our second visionary solution was to have an urban sensory garden with green learnings. The things that were included on that was a rainwater harvesting system. We changed our public lighting to LED lighting with floodlights that can be lit up to mark significant days of the year. For example, Autism Week, Mental Health Week, and those things are marked. Other things within Visionary Solution 2 was that we had a touch screen, and you can see in the image below the touch screen there that transmits information that we collect from our sensors. So we have real-time data that is displayed for people to go and learn. As part of the Varsities project, there was a health and wellbeing platform developed that's also on display on the touchscreen, along with the JUSTNature game that was developed as part of the project. Our third visionary solution was a bike station with sensors. Within that, given that we were removing the car park from the space and putting the pedestrian first, we felt that it was very important that bicycles were very welcomed to the site, and so we created new bicycle stations that were fully inclusive. You can see one of the image there; they're quite widened, so if people are coming with bicycles with trailers on the back, or a modified bicycle for a disability, it was fully inclusive. We also tried to welcome cycling groups by having bike sensors, or bike maintenance repair stations, and water stations. Next, please. And so I'm looking at some of the barriers, but really I have kind of linked them with enablers, because with the barriers that we faced, we through the co-creation process, we had a risk register. We were able to identify a lot of the barriers and risks that we were going to meet at an early stage, and try and turn that into, if you like, an opportunity or enabler. And so one of the barriers was, as I've already outlined, what were the needs on priorities for the site. That was easily, addressed through the stakeholder engagement process. For us, the level of stakeholder engagement, you can see along that diagram there, the co-identification, the co-design, the co-implementation, and the co-evaluation process. It was a very inclusive approach. It was locally tailored and driven by stakeholder engagement activities. We used formal and informal formats, and we tried to tie them in as best we could with social and cultural events. For example, during Science Week, we had one of our partners who designed, Dartec, who designed the co-creation game, or the JUSTNature game. Neil came over, and during Science Week, we got a group of school children and college students to come in and to give their feedback on how they felt I suppose the game was developing at a very early stage. And this garnered an awful lot of interest, from, I suppose, that group of stakeholders who would be more technologically, up to speed on things. So that was easily, addressed on that. Next, please. I suppose, like everything, we had budget constraints. That was addressed by keeping our procurement and our cost management plan up to date. We had fortnightly or monthly, depending on the stage of the project, pilots meetings. And I suppose for us as pilots in a very large 10 million euro project, we found these pilot meetings to be really helpful to Louth County Council. It meant that things never really got running away from you. You were able to, a budget barrier that you may have met was quickly identified if something was going to be running over. It could be brought to management very, very, quickly, and we could try and address it as quickly as we could. Another barrier that we faced was planning approvals with legal hurdles. We had, towards the end of the planning process, landowners that had not made it known to us that they had a legal right of way, and so that meant some of the design of the site had to be changed. But with a lot of dialogue and meetings, it was agreed that rather than going full pedestrian, that we would keep their right of way open, but it was only to serve loading needs of businesses coming in, and that was only probably about 2 or 3 times during the day. Therefore, the site, by and large, is well pedestrianised. A barrier that we had, and probably still would have, is the local sensor knowledge. We put in an awful lot of sensors. We were measuring different things to do with air quality, noise, the people sensors, all of those things, and we were using a LoRaWAN system that we had never used before. In terms of knowing where to get these sensors, how they all connected in, we found that very, very, I suppose, challenging at the time. Within the consortium, I suppose an enabler there, and that was there was a partner within the consortium who had expertise with sensors and was able to help us to procure the necessary sensors. But given that we are a local authority, local government, we have to be extremely careful on how we upload the likes of this information, because local government are very open to, I suppose, hackers and things like that. So we have to put extra precautions in charge. Keeping up to date with the sensors post-project. This is, I suppose, something that within the local authority we are putting, I suppose, mechanisms in place that this will be continued. And I suppose towards the end of the project, a barrier could be the maintenance. We would classify that really as a low risk, because given the level of stakeholder engagement, there really is a sense of ownership by local community groups to the site, and as a result, many of the local groups, our tidy towns, are coming in and they're taking great interest in the sensory garden. They're emptying bins, they're weeding out the plants, and really taking ownership of it, which is, I suppose, a real success of the project. Next, please. I think given time, we can probably skip the next slides. That's just really a repeat of what I've said, but just really to say that all the visionary solutions are installed, operating successfully, and we're at the tail end of the project. Next, please. And that's just, again, you can skip that, Tanya. So for Louth County Council, we had many KPIs. We were 33 for ourselves, and these were being monitored through our sensors. These are just some of the statistics that we had, and I'm not going to waste a lot of time on that, but just as you can, it's clear to see that, for example, the graph in the middle, that's showing the number of attendees that we have had at our site. So in 2021, there was 39. by 2024, this had gone up to 633. Another statistic was that 100% of the existing pavement in the construction of the site was fully recycled, and so diverted from landfill. So the statistics speak very well for themselves. Next, please. And sorry, yeah, just the final slide was what is the critical impact that we would have as a local authority. We felt that the project was very successful in that it empowered the local community. Our citizens played a very active role in shaping the pilot site from the very beginning to the very end of the project. The integrated way that we went around that, we've created, I suppose, a new level of stakeholder engagement. This will be brought into every level of local government within Louth County Council. So from the planning authority to our community sections, we now know that the success of taking time to properly identify stakeholders and engage with stakeholders is well worth it at the end, because the statistics, that I have to the side of the slide showing that we have over 150 events in our learning pod within 1 year is a phenomenal success. We have created a sustainable urban living within this space that is fully inclusive. We've already received an award for our pilot site through the National Tidy Towns Award for it being fully inclusive. They particularly like the new seating areas, how everything was built at a standard where everyone could make use of the facilities within the site. And I suppose finishing off what I said at the very beginning, it had to be a space that was for all season, and that the feedback that we got from the co-evaluation workshop is more projects like this, please. So that's it. Thank you very much. And you can ask the questions at the end.
Thank you so much, Ursula. Given the time, I suggest that we can continue and not having the pause, so we can have more time for discussion after, if you all agree. So now we will have the presentation from Diana Weller from PEX Hungary. She is the head of the Investment Promotion Division in the Municipality of PEX and the Department of Economic and Development since 2020. She manages investor inquiries and is developing a one-stop system presenting the city, identify potential location, maintaining communications and authorities during the investment implementation process, connecting with suppliers and consumers. She is currently the coordinator of the Net Zero Cities program at the PEX municipality until a climate protection department is established. I will give you the floor, Diane.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Actually, I was invited by our colleagues from Szombathely. Szombathely is a JUSTNature project partner, and we are partners in one of our pilot project in the Net Zero City. And this time we had a lot of different projects and programs in this Net Zero and other green projects. But this time I choose this co-governance and partnership topic. And why is that? Because now we are focusing on very much on this topic of co-governance. So firstly, I have just a couple of facts about our city. Pécs is located in the southeastern part of Hungary, close to the Croatian border. it's a very nice city with a multicultural population. We have 11 minorities, of which German and Croatian is the biggest, or are the biggest and the most active. This multicultural feature is strengthened by the University of Pécs with 22,000 students and 5,000 students from abroad, from more than 100 countries. And Pécs is the educational and cultural center of the region. And in 2010, Pécs was the European Capital of Culture. And in 2022, the city leadership decided to submit for this Net Zero Cities program. And last year we got a label. So please, the next slide. I would like just thank you. A couple of thoughts about Net Zero Cities program. I suppose you have heard about it, or maybe you are part of it. So the EU has different mission, and one of these climate neutral and smart city by 2030 mission, because the EU realized that only the cities are very important in the whole globe, actually, and in Europe as well, covering only 4% of the land area, but they are the home of 75% of EU citizens. And they are also the 70% of the global CO2 emissions. So that's why our city is very important. And the EU had chosen 100 cities taking part in this program. The biggest objective is achieving climate neutrality by 2030 and make those cities example for the other cities, because of course EU would like to be climate neutral by 2050. You can see on this map all the cities involving this program from Hungary. Beside Pécs, Budapest, and Miskolc are also are part of this program. Thank you. Please, the next. Yes, what are the main development areas? So we are focusing in this Net Zero City program these four main topics, these four main development areas. Energy security is one of the biggest. We would like to support the renewable energy sources. In Pécs, there is operating a huge biomass-based district heating system, but all the buildings that are not part of this system have gas heating system mainly, and this is the biggest CO2 emissioner. So we have to decarbonizing heating systems and electricity. Hydrogen technology is also very important, because the University of Pécs is the national lab of renewable energy, and they have different research on hydrogen technologies. And we would like to support the energy communities in the city as well. The other very important sector is the building sector, and the energy to make energy efficient residential buildings, including a lot of buildings into this district heating system. We can also mention the waste management in the industrial processes with circular economy and selective waste collection. which is very problematic right now. I will tell you later. And the transport and mobility, of course. Page is very lucky because we have our own transport company, and we would like to change the whole fleet into electric buses. So far we had 18 electric bus. And of course, we would like to support the micromobility devices and achieve a data-driven transport. So these are the main focuses, but of course, we have other topics in this program. But you can see that reaching these net zero goals requires very coordinated action involving not only the local government, the municipality, but also institutions, the university, the company, big and medium-sized companies as well, NGOs, and of course, active citizen engagement is also needed. Thank you. Please for the next slide. Oh, okay. And in this slide, I would like to show you how we reached to be part of this net zero cities. So at first, we had to have a lot of information to see what is the status quo, what the first point where we are, and we need a lot of information and inputs, and we had to write down the main objectives, the possible outcomes, and all the barriers, what we are in front of. And for all this information and inputs to get them, we needed to cooperate with the university, with local companies, NGOs, service providers, so many actors of this field. And we were working in different working groups. And then our city development company elaborated an action plan, an investment plan, and we call them, this is the climate city contract. So this is the document of the net zero cities. And the city development company had to work together tightly, the municipality, the mayor's office, the EU net zero consultants, and of course climate expert consultants as well. And so we elaborated this whole climate city contract with all the plans and all the signatures. And then that was the moment when we have to implement all the actions. And we have to increase the climate awareness of the citizens and the different actors and stakeholders. And we have also to communicate about the projects and programs. And as a part of this whole program, we have to share our knowledge, for example, with Szombathely in this twinning learning program. And of course, with other cities and other stakeholders. So in that final step, the municipality and the General Assembly have to cooperate actually with all the actors you saw before had it in these green bubbles. And at that point, we should institutionalize the whole process and all the actors. And please, the next slide. I will just show you what we do, which is very important because now all these parts are or all these groups are the part of the organizational and operational regulation of the municipality. So we have a mayor's climate advisory group. This is a very narrow decision-making and proposal-making body working with the mayor. We have a climate protection steering committee. This is a governing body of the city-level system of organizations supporting the climate transition. The climate platform actually is the same as I mentioned before, had these working groups. We were working together with different NGOs and companies and institutions. Those actors form this climate platform. So this is actually a consultative body. And this is an open body, so other companies, other stakeholders can enter the climate platform, helping and supporting our work. The climate protection group actually is in a municipal organization unit as a secretariat of the climate protection steering company, working in the city management department of the municipality. This is under construction, let's say, so we are now forming this group. It's not existing still. And of course, the Pitch City Development is a city-owned company, and it deals with the project development and implementation of the whole program. So this is the main idea, and it's accepted by the municipality, and now it started to work in this official framework. So we made the first steps in this institutionalized partnership, and I really hope that maybe you have deeper experience you can share with me. Thank you very much. And next slide, please. And I just tried to put some photos about the best practice of this cooperation and partnership. On the first photo, you can see some of the city climate contract signatures expressing their city commitment. For example, the president of the local chamber of commerce and industry. There is the signature of the bishop, the signature of the rector of the university, and a couple of biggest company operating in the city. So all of these actors just expressed their commitments, and this is the part of the climate city contract. On the second picture, it showed the completed project, which is city center rain garden. This is not directly related to the net zero city, but this is the part of the local community budget. And we are very happy. It is great to see that so many local initiatives are related to the climate neutrality and greening project. On the third photo, there is the action area of a net zero city pilot project. The special feature of the project, which is involving the building sector and the transportation of a district close to the city center, is that we look for opportunities to reduce traffic and make the heating of buildings more climate friendly in close cooperation with the local population. So this is for us a good example for the citizen engagement and citizen involvement. And the last photo is an example of cooperation with local kindergartens and educational institutions. The city is working on improving air quality within the framework of LIFE project. And in the photo, my colleagues are conducting educational activities. So, of course, we have a lot of many other examples, but let's see the enablers and barriers. Well, actually, we have in page the local NGOs are very strong and they are working together. So the network is also very strong. Almost 1,000 NGOs working in the city. We have a very good relationship with the university. We have also signed a cooperation agreement with them, including the Net Zero Cities projects. And of course, we got a lot of support from the EU, our Net Zero Cities consultant, and there is a one-stop shop system supporting the cities, working very well. And thankfully, the local businesses are very open-minded. Of course, they have their own green initiatives, but they are working with us in this project. The main barriers are the centralization project. The Hungarian local government have significantly narrower room for maneuver than in most EU countries, especially in financial and regulatory terms. As a result of the centralization processes during the last decade, many competencies such as education, healthcare, public services have into the state hands, while the proportion of revenues of the municipalities has decreased. So local governments are highly dependent, for example, in independent implementation of climate policy goals and community initiatives. So we are very dependent in financial way, in resources, and this limits our autonomy and narrows our possibilities. And this situation makes difficult for us to adapt effectively international trends in case of the narrow city and the co-governance types as well. And of course, we have also a lack of local and national resources, financial support, unfortunately. So this is the barriers we are facing of, and thank you very much for your attention and patience.
Thank you, Diana. So at the last point, we are going to open to discussion. So we took the liberty of putting together the three presentations here and the challenge addresses or the main focus. Also, the development stage of what we saw in each city, and summarizing the enablers and barrier. And we can see that some of them are the same. Actually, also, they are very similar to the ones that the project's disciples in JUSTNature have faced too, as Eleni showed us earlier. So open to you. Who would like to start with questions or comments? Please, Balad.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for all the presentations. I have two questions. One to Eleni is like, we are also now trying to engage more and more the local community into the maintenance of the NBS. And I wonder, how do you do this involvement in the projects that you mentioned? Who is exactly local, or who's involved in that? Like, how do you motivate them for such an activity? And the other one is to Ursula, is that we are also using sensors in our project, and we also face the challenges to find good ones. And what kind of sensors do you use? And you mentioned 33 KPIs. Do you measure them all with the sensors? Then it's maybe more than two questions, but addressing two people. Thank you.
Thank you, Palas, for the question. Can I start? Yeah, since it was the first one. So, yes, it's a very nice question. And the main characteristic in all our cycles is that the citizens have been involved from the beginning, from the very beginning, from identifying the needs. So this gives them a sense of ownership. So they have been involved, they've expressed their needs. These are solutions that address their needs. They have co-designed these solutions. In some cases, they have also co-implemented. So there is a sense of ownership here, and it's a natural continuation of this process to have the citizens involved in operating and maintaining these spaces. The motivation that you mentioned, incentives are always useful, but incentives are mostly useful, needed at the very beginning of the project. I mean, how do you gain people's trust so that they can dedicate their precious time to you and participate in whatever you are organizing? So incentives were very useful at the beginning of designing, sketching these solutions. I would say, and perhaps our cycle representatives that are also attending, that towards the end of the process, these kinds of incentives were no longer needed because people already felt that they have responsibility, that they have a role to play in maintaining the solutions. It would be interesting to see if someone from our cycles would also like to add something to this.
Anyone would like to?
Okay.
No. I think we can go to Ursula, so you can answer Bala's question, please.
Okay, Balas, yeah, with regards to sensors, no, not and our KPIs and measuring, no, not every KPI that we are measuring is recorded through sensors. For example, when we would been doing our looking at the biodiversity and the species that we would have, what we did was beforehand, we would have went out and undertook a survey of the number and the type of species that were there. Post-project, we would have had a plan drawn up for the sensory garden, and therefore we were able to identify the new species and the number of species that were there. In terms of another KPI that we would be looking at is, say, distance that people would be now to public green space pre and post project. And what we're doing there was we would have used mapping exercises to do that. Again, the number of people that would be using our learning pod, that's collected through our library staff, where we would have booking systems in place. So you just cannot go into the learning pod. It's locked. for maintenance reasons. So if you want to use it as a member of staff, we can have meetings there. Or if there's a community group that want to go in and host an event there, or there's a cultural event, or there's lots of music lessons and choir groups go in there. They just book that through the booking system, and our library staff will record then the number of attendees that would be there. With our sensors, we had prior to the project a large air quality measuring unit that was from the Environmental Protection Agency of Ireland. Given that we're a local government site, that it was on our fire station site, you know, which wasn't that far from the pilot site. So we asked them if they could relocate that. The information was already being collected. It was just a question of relocating it to the pilot site, and then I suppose feeding the information that had been collected pre-project to currently, that is now being transferred over to the Varsity's platform, and that's been measured over there. We have new sensors, of course, that have gone in, and they are like the people sensors, the noise sensors, things like that. We did have a partner on the consortium, and they were very, very helpful, because really, I suppose our challenge was we could buy these sensors, but would they be compatible with feeding into the Varsity's platform? And we didn't know for a long time, and I would have to say that we wasted a huge amount of time, maybe months and months, looking at different sensors ourselves without any particular expertise in what it was that we were looking at. And I suppose we didn't realize that as again at the beginning of the project, you don't really know, maybe know exactly what everybody's expertise was, and it was just through a progress meeting that I got chatting till again he was able to say we can actually assist you with that, and you're wasting a huge amount of time. And once we got that and he helped us with the procurement and things like that, it really was very easy for us. But what we're finding now is towards the end of the project, you constantly have to keep looking at your sensors to see if they're working, are they transmitting the information, and just simple things like maybe the battery, you know, has gone from it. You know, you really have to be looking at them at a regular basis. You know, I'm not sure if there was another question, Phyllis.
I'm fine. Thank you very much. I may contact you later on if you don't mind.
Yes, that's fine.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Ursula. Thank you, Eleni. Anyone else with another question or comment?
Yes, I have one for Diane. You have said, is Diane here? No.
Yes, I think yes.
Oh, yes. You had talked about having 18 electric buses within your city. And yet you had talked about having, I suppose, hydrogen. Have you looked at maybe a hydrogen bus, or what is your thoughts on that?
Yeah, actually, we have only electric buses. We were trying to submit the hydrogen city. I don't know the exact name of the project, which actually was eliminated later. And then that case, we had the possibility to have hydrogen buses or hydrogen cars in the city for a trial period. Unfortunately, we don't have. The university actually is researching with a local company on the hydrogen energy vehicles. So there are some researches, but in a very early stage, let's say. So we are not against the hydrogen. Actually, we are researching the possibilities of how to use it in the city, and which is a problem. I think that in case of vehicles that they need recharge station, and in Hungary, I think there is only one or two in the whole country that kind of recharge stations. But actually, yes, we have researches on hydrogen possibilities.
Thank you, Diana. Is anyone else with other questions or comments? Don't see any hands raised.
There is a question.
Yes, Magdalena, go ahead.
There is a question in the chat from Alice.
Oh, okay. I don't see the chat.
Hi, good morning. I can
Alice.
do it like that. Hi, good morning. I'm Alice from the City of Munich. Thank you for your inputs. I noticed that all of them are EU-funded projects, just like JUSTNature, no? And the inevitable question, I guess, at the latest from the mid of the project is always what to do after the project ends. So I was wondering, I think in net zero cities it's a bit of an exception because you have mayoral commitment and it's a very high level process, no? Because Munich is also part of net zero cities and essentially has that high level commitment and insured finances. But how do you already have a strategy in place or a plan in place how you could either replicate your interventions in the city after the project ends or sort of included in the policy goals that you might have? Perhaps even some of the JUSTNature cities already have a plan.
Do you mind if I start?
Please.
Thank you. I'm not working for the municipality, but as we are working together, I could say my ideas how I see they would continue after the project. And deliberately in this project, the municipality wanted to build up internal capacities to build properly, to learn first and build properly rain gardens mostly, and to learn the proper maintenance. And as these are not that expensive tools to roll out, we are in this Upsurge project looking into how to scale up these 50, which is compared to the earlier numbers is a large number, but compared to a big municipality of 35 square kilometers is not a really big number. And that's how we plan, and also with a parallel ongoing similar topic project, the life runoff project. The municipality is learning properly how to think in a structured way to prepare a strategy for rainwater harvesting and to build in this type of experience coming from the other project. They plan hopefully in the mid or long run to roll out this strategy and implement with an action plan to retain the rainwater. I mentioned the institutional capacities. Yes, that's I think one of the largest assets on the long run. And the other point why I also asked Ursula are on the sensors, that the operation of these tools beyond the project is not always easy, especially if the services of the project are stopping. And we hope to be able to maintain it at least until it's necessary within the project. But as we engaged a lot of people with the citizen science wearable sensors, we hope to be able to utilize these at least on our own channels and platforms beyond the project. But as we are using mostly local sensors, their maintenance could be a problem after a while. And I wonder if any of the cities, not only us, could take this into their budget on the mid or the long run. I think this is a short reflection from our side.
Thank you, Balas. Ursula, you want to go next?
Yes, well, I suppose, Alice, in terms of will there be any replication going forward? As our local authority, we have, I think I said at the beginning of my presentation, we have responsibility for a lot of services being delivered at the local level. So we have responsibility for planning, we have responsibility for public parks. And if I just take those two particular sections, whenever a developer would come in for planning permission, let that be for a retail or a commercial development or a housing development, they have to pay what's called local levies. One of the things that they would be paying a levy for is for public space. And with our Varsities project, we got a certain budget through the project, but we match funded ourselves to ensure that, I suppose, we went a little bit above and beyond using our levies that we would have had set aside for public realm. So the success of this project, I don't think can be underestimated. We had a lot of political, I suppose, interest in this. They came to all our stakeholders and engagement meetings. And whenever we seek planning permission, it is the elected representatives of our council who grant you planning permission. With that in mind, they granted planning permission for this. They stayed very, very informed then through they didn't just grant planning permission and then move away, because there was the 3 further stages of stakeholder engagement meetings and workshops. They were continuing to come. They were getting a lot of feedback on that. So with that in mind now, they're looking and saying this has been an extremely successful project. With our public realm levies now coming in, I think we should be looking at investing in nature-based solutions. And they are very, we have to set aside at the beginning of each year a list of projects that the council are going to do, to spend that money, and it's open and it's transparent. And now there is the question being asked, we should be looking at our learnings from the Varsities project. The KPIs and the statistics speak for themselves. In fact, even just general feedback when politicians would be going door to door looking for votes. Our project is very much spoken to the politicians, in the different towns throughout the county. Could we not get something like what Dundalk has, and therefore I can say that going forward, there will be a lot of replication throughout our county anyway, but how we can spread that, through not just Louth. I think we should be looking at further afield at a regional level, and not just at the local level, and spreading those learnings also. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that's great to hear. And this idea of the levies, kind of that you can use them for any public space you have. I think in Munich, it's sometimes bound to the space that the developer kind of looks into, and it helps to fund social infrastructure and partly green infrastructure as well. But I'm not quite sure if there's so much surplus that it funds that much more of the public realm. But it's interesting to know that that's worked for you. Thank you.
Maybe Diana, you want to add a little bit?
Okay. Well, actually, it's quite an interesting question in our situation, because yes, this net zero city is a quite huge program, and at this point, my vision is this is a never-ending story, even if I know that it works until 2030. And I think that the city leadership commitment is very good, and it strengthened the whole process doing forward. But I know that with the new city leadership, it can change it. And actually, I was not thinking about, but I think all the processes we made and all the project, we were thinking until 2030. So actually, I am very curious about Munich. Do you have any steps looking forward? I mean, not until 2030, or
with the Net Zero Cities project or the JUSTNature activities?
the Net Zero City, actually.
I could send you on a contact of a colleague in another department who leads on that, because I don't know the details of that.
Okay.
Yeah. In maybe just quickly also for the others, because we didn't get to introduce what we essentially do in the JUSTNature project. So in Munich, we are sort of testing temporary regreening redesign methods in a schoolyard and also in the courtyard of a sort of cultural residence center for refugees. And for example, in the school, we've particularly chosen that schoolyard because it's destined as a pilot school for a long-term redesign of a more nature-oriented schoolyard. So essentially, the lessons we've learned will flow into that, and that's already fully financed and will be implemented from summer onwards. And with the Cultural and Residence Center, the idea is that because there are quite a few sort of organizations which have some kind of public space, but of course, due to the nature of their work and their funding, they can't also concentrate on beautifying, let's say, a public or semi-public space they have. So the idea is there to also showcase to other cultural organizations what might be possible, and to sort of raise awareness that EU funding can be applied for to do so. Thank you for your answers.
Thank you, Alice. Anyone else with another question? I think we have time for one more question or two, probably. I actually have a question for Diane. Since our experience in JUSTNature in our cycles, as Eleni said, that the community was invited since the beginning, but I've seen that this is not very easy to have citizen engagement. Is one of the most challenging things, because at the end of the day, you know, this city people who works in the city is their jobs, but citizen engagement is like an extra thing. How? And I saw in your slides that you have these working groups, and it looks like it's a very easy flowing thing. But how is it? How are the challenges of the citizen engagement in this? Is it a knowledge thing? Is it awareness thing? What are the main challenges?
Yes, I think we have the same difficulties, of course, to talk to citizens is very, very difficult. We have to motivate them. We have to. With the NGOs, it's much easier, because they have the whole knowledge about working together, citizens. I don't know, young people or different community in the cities. So we count on them a lot. because yes, the attitude towards municipality is sometimes controversial. So I mean, it's very difficult, to talk to citizens. I mean, to one or two or 100. So we have to find a community to involve them. It's easier, but we rely on NGOs, because I mentioned that we have a very strong network of NGOs in a lot of different sector or field working. So they support us a lot, but I think we have totally the same difficulties with citizen engagement and involvement to the project. So yes, we have to motivate them with different type, with I don't know, with gifts or with motivation, with education or things like that. But yes, you were right. It's one of the biggest challenge in the whole process.
Thank you, Diana. I'm gonna read one of Ruth, because Ruth cannot speak because she is in a conference right now. But I think it's a question for Balas. She's saying that, is there any easy to understand guideline of how to build rain gardens? Best wishes from the tree conference in Milan.
Yes, we created also in this project such a guideline, however, in Hungarian language, but we can gladly share it with you. And also the expert within the municipality is created a little longer booklet, more detailed guidelines also for experts who are working in this field. So I would gladly share with you. Just please contact us, or let's exchange somehow email addresses. So yes, we wanted to make first a simplified version so that the public understands what's going on, and also a more complex way, which is for those companies or people, experts, who are working on the implementation, including our city management company. So thank you for the question.
Thank you, Balas. And last, I have a comment from Andri. Do you want to say it or I should read it?
I can. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
I can also try to formulate it. It's just a consideration. So I'm from the city of Zurich, not working here for too long. So the consideration comes from my PhD and work I've done before. So the question of financing, the maintenance and operation of nature-based solutions, as well as the investment in such infrastructures. In Switzerland, a main financial resource that is discussed for this respect is the levies or tariffs that are paid on wastewater, connection fees from the household, or annual tariffs based on usage. And this is because alternative stormwater drainage or rain water management solutions, they tend to put less pressure on the existing sewer network and treatment plants, and thus taking part of the tariffs for funding rain gardens or such solutions is heavily considered. And I was curious if other European cities or JUSTNature project cities consider wastewater tariffs as well in this debate on how to continue after the project and how to scale up solutions and how to finance them. Thank you.
Thank you, Andri. Anyone wants to take the question? Maybe one of our disciples? Maybe Eleni, would you know something about that?
I cannot say. I mean, this would be city specific. I see that Alice mentions that she would have to check that and get back. I don't know about the rest.
Maybe I can come in here. Yes, I would indeed need to check it, Andre. But I think in the rural region they do that quite a lot. So the Emscher Genossenschaft, so essentially they do the water management, wastewater management. You probably know them for the rural region. And to my knowledge, which is 1 or 2 years old, I guess, they use some of those levies to fund nature-based solutions, and then we've done it like large-scale nature-based solutions. Yeah. But I'll check that from Munich and get back to you on that.
All right, so we are almost finished our session. Before I give the floor to Daniel, I would like to ask you all if you can please open your camera so we can have a nice picture of all of us, so we can tell should we put in our KPIs. I will take a picture really quick. Oh, I lost everybody. Okay. Okay, ready? No, another one. All right. Thank you. So please, Daniel, your final word.
Thanks, Tanya. But most importantly, thank you to everyone for participating. It's a wrap. It's been a packed 2 hours, so thank you so much for giving us your time, and I think it was a great exchange. We will follow up with the feedback form, if that's okay, and we'll be able to share the presentation. But we're particularly interested not just in the feedback, but any thoughts or ideas for improvement, but also because we are thinking of having a similar multilateral maybe in the January timeframe, January 2026. So any ideas for content areas, because it sounds like there definitely are crossover points and similarities where we would all benefit from this kind of exchange. So if you could have a think about what those topics might be and feed them back to us via email, that would be hugely appreciated. But thank you. It's been a really productive 2 hours, I think, and I hope you got value from it too.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
I'll see you next
Thank
time.
you,
Goodbye.
everyone.
Thank you
Have a
for
nice day.
joining. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.